aliens, outer space, and flying saucers have been immortalised in 20th century pop culture, vividly portrayed in films, TV shows, and books over the years. The potential existence of these extraterrestrial beings and spacecrafts have also sparked debate, as well as bringing up conspiracy theories about whether world governments are really telling us the whole story about alien encounters. However, when it's government officials themselves that claim to have seen UFOs, things get scarily more real. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at 3 stories where government officials have spoken about their knowledge of UFOs. Miyuki Hatayama UFO Experience. Miyuki Hatayama, the wife of ex-Japanese Prime Minister Yukio Hatayama, is a fairly interesting person in her own right. Alongside being married to one of the Eastern politics' biggest figures, she allegedly had a very close encounter with UFOs, as close as travelling to Venus with them. In 2009, she authored a book named Very Strange Things I've Encountered. Amongst a myriad of rather weird tales, one stood out as a lot stranger and perhaps a lot madder than any others. The otherworldly experience occurred some 2 decades before the book was published. In the book, she described a trip to the planet Venus under the abduction of aliens. She spoke of the experience and described it as, "While my body was asleep, I think my soul rode on a triangular-shaped UFO and went to Venus. It was a very beautiful place, and it was very green." Now this statement is a bit odd. This is because Venus is made up of mainly molten rock and has a temperature of some 500 degrees Celsius. You'd find it rather spectacular to see greenery on Venus in any form. Was this just her dreaming, or was it a reality that she saw? Her account of this experience was a little eccentric with her description of what Venus looks like. However, the way Japan views UFOs and alien life are divergent. They think UFOs and alien life are more mystical and spiritual than scientific, and some Japanese politicians have admitted their belief in extraterrestrial life. Miyuki's experience may have been a little far-fetched, and perhaps was just the recount of a vivid dream she had, but the books did open up the UFO question once again in the Far East. Dwight D. Eisenhower's UFO knowledge. 34th US President Dwight D. Eisenhower was many things to America. The mastermind of the D-Day evacuations, a pioneer of civil rights in the States, and the creator of the highway system. A 5-star military general in his career in the army, Eisenhower would have seen many things that no man wished to. At the same time, he was probably aware of many of the top-secret plans or documents, including material that was discussed that was extremely sensitive, misunderstood topics of the time. Dwight D. Eisenhower allegedly had very good knowledge of UFOs, and he didn't just know about UFOs. Eisenhower, according to reports, actually met aliens 3 times. It's known that Eisenhower was extremely interested in the possibility of extraterrestrial life. Upon taking office in 1953, this didn't change. Only a year later, Eisenhower's first infamous meeting took place. The president was on holiday in Palm Springs, California. According to his family, he simply disappeared for several hours one Saturday and missed a public dinner. He wasn't seen again until late the following morning. The White House Communications Department issued a statement announcing he had just chipped a tooth and had gone to see a dentist to get it fixed. But what Eisenhower was allegedly really doing was a lot more interesting and unnerving than a trip to a dentist. Michael Saller, who was an American university professor, wasn't convinced by the dentist story. He believes that Eisenhower actually travelled to Edwards Air Force Base, and this theory does check out. The Eisenhower Presidential Library, where all the records from Eisenhower's presidency are kept, doesn't hold any record of the president visiting the dentist over the dates of the Palm Springs visit. Edwards Base is located in a barren yet impressive desert. It serves primarily as an active airport, but also houses an aviation museum. Perhaps its most famous function is acting as the administration centre for none other than Area 51 itself. Saller believes that Eisenhower travelled to Edwards with some members of the Secret Service to meet with 3 extraterrestrial beings. They were known as Nordics in UFO circles due to their resemblance to Northern European or Scandinavian people. The aliens allegedly asked Eisenhower to denuclearize the United States, as they were afraid of reckless behaviours that could endanger the space-time continuum and therefore affect the aliens themselves. In return, they offered their superior technological secrets to Eisenhower, as well as what the Washington Post describes as spiritual wisdom, and the Edwards encounter wasn't the only reported meeting between Eisenhower and alien life. In February 1955, around 300 people reported sightings of Air Force One landings in Holloman Air Force Base in New Mexico. As Air Force One parked up, a man who was assumed to be Eisenhower descended the stairs. Suddenly, a group of what was thought to be flying saucers landed in front of the jet. What Eisenhower and the aliens discussed isn't exactly known. Some theorists believed he signed a treaty with them. Whether Eisenhower really did meet with aliens is up for debate, but if he did, it could throw all of America's potential UFO secrets up in the air. Dennis Kucinich has seen UFOs. Dennis Kucinich may not be very well known outside of the USA. For those of you that haven't heard of him, he was the former mayor of Cleveland and a US representative from Ohio. He also ran for nomination as the Democratic presidential candidate in the 2004 and 2008 elections, but didn't gain the vote on either occasion. But for some, his political endeavours don't outshine any of those personal experiences he had nearly 40 years ago. What was it that Dennis Kucinich saw hovering over actress Shirley MacLaine's house one night in Washington state all that time ago? Well, he confirmed it himself on national television in 2007. Announcing that he had indeed seen a UFO, making himself seem a little mad and perhaps discrediting himself from the presidential race. He wasn't just being interviewed when he admitted to seeing the UFO. He was actually partaking in a Democratic presidential candidate debate. However, the story behind this rather bizarre statement has some substance. In MacLaine's book, she wrote that one night, he was drawn outside by the smell of roses onto her balcony. She wrote that, when he looked up, he saw a gigantic triangular craft, silent and observing him. It hovered, soundless, for 10 minutes or so. It sped away at a speed he couldn't comprehend. He said he felt a connection in his heart, and heard directions in his mind. The connection between people and UFOs is actually quite well documented. Many people who have seen alleged UFO or alien life seem to have felt something just before, during, or after the experience. The pair have been close for years, and Shirley MacLaine is known to be interested in UFOs herself. Funnily enough, Kucinich is personally against the use of weapons in space, or using space as a weapon. His experience outside Shirley's house that night presents a more pressing question though. Might there be an ulterior motive behind his views on space weapons? And does this mean that the sighting was in fact real? 3 interesting stories of government officials who knew a thing or two about UFOs. And not only did they allegedly know about such events, but some actually met these alien life forms themselves. We can imagine it would be quite terrifying to meet an actual alien, but at the same time, alien life has fascinated us for years, and ultimately, we all want to know what's out there. Do you believe in UFOs or extraterrestrial life? So what do you make of these thrilling stories about extraterrestrial life? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, and help us by growing this community whilst working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.